saying that ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode.
Ooh, what you say? That I might secretly be gay, but of course, hey, we all might have our limit. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what you get on a Friday when your boy hasn't vocally warmed up, okay? You get some lukewarm, possibly curious bars, dropping on you bars, dusting off a classic with the bars, ladies and gentlemen. All right, welcome. 7 minutes in Evan, Friday special. Listen, reach out. What day of the week does it better for these episodes to drop? Do you like them on a Monday? Do you like them on a Wednesday? Do you like them on Fridays? All right, no one knows, but it's provocative. Ladies and gentlemen, a little caffeinated up, okay? Had my pre-workout coming at you hot now with a good old-fashioned cup of Black Rifle coffee, all right? America's coffee, home of the free coffee, home of the brave coffee. Not sponsored, but looking for it, maybe coffee, all right? Shout out to Black Rifle. Shout out to Yeti. I always think of like a Yeti, like the Abominable Snowman kind of Yeti whenever I think of the brand, not some ice chest, okay? Do they call it a Yeti? Because it's like in the fascinating stuff. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to whatever episode this is, 314. We've been at it for a while. They say 10,000 hours to become a master of something. We'll see what the fuck happens, okay? If you've never been here before, welcome. We like to have a silly goose time and just get into it. Sometimes we get serious. Sometimes we don't even scratch the surface of anything that makes sense, all right? But it's good to have you in the journey inside of Evan for 7 minutes in Evan. Welcome. Cue the music. No music, okay? We're working on something new, all right? Let's dive into some stuff, okay? First of all, too much caffeine in my system. Let's talk about that. Pre-workout. I'm always trying to figure out the best way to do something. And I'll be honest with you. I'm trying to work out first thing in the morning when I wake up. All right. Maybe the second thing in the morning because I like to wake up, do 30 minutes of stand-up writing and just kind of like get my morning go like that. Because I feel like stand-up comedy is the top priority outside of the obvious like breathing and family and life. And so I'm like, if I can get my 30 minutes in the morning first thing, I've checked that off my list. Then let's work out. And I like to drink pre-workout, No Explode. I've been drinking No Explode for 25 years. No, not 45. 15 years. Probably 15, 16 years I've been drinking No Explode. Okay, first time I ever had No Explode, I was in college, all right? Someone gifted me a cup of it. I ain't looked back since. I've been chasing that high that I got off the first time I ever had pre-workout ever since. There's nothing like the first time you have pre-workout, okay? It is a gym bros heroin. You float. You go to the gym off that first hit of pre-workout feeling like there's a family of bees living under your skin, okay? You get out there in the gym and you don't even have headphones in, but all you're hearing is, ah! And there's a bald eagle and, you know, can't be stopped, okay? I think the first time I ever took pre-workout, I worked out for like 2.5 hours. Felt great. I remember I was doing planks for like 15 minutes. We were doing planks and just rotating for like 15 minutes, and I was unstoppable. I think it could have been PCP, if I'm being honest with you. That would check out, okay? Orange flavored PCP. If they have that, that's what I took. Good old fashioned creamsicle flavored PSP or PCP. PSP is something different that I don't even know. Okay, this is what happens when you get a caffeine induced episode from the go. Okay, I'm chasing that high. Do you guys remember Jacked 3D? That was a pre-workout. I don't dive too far into the pre-workout because I know when people hear me say No Explode, they're like, oh, that's my grandfather's pre-workout. Okay, that's fine. Okay, it's like you ever gone to a friend's their bathroom and they have like Old Spice musk, like the green one that only your grandpa had, and you're just like, what the hell? This dinosaur? What is he using? You know, they don't even sell it in stores. It was just some extra stock from someone's bomb shelter from the 80s, and they're just using that for deodorant. That's what No Explode is. Okay, it's a very mild pre-workout because I know I'm a crack addict. Okay, I know I can get lost out there in the boonies. All right, out there in the wild, just living off the free world. Okay, if I go too far, that's why I don't do drugs. That's why I don't drink, because I'm like, oh, I'm a werewolf. Okay, listen, I had a bit about it for a little while, but like I don't really drink anymore because I was like a werewolf. Like there was a point where I left and it was like someone else took over and I was gone. And I would just be like, hopefully, it's like leaving a dog to watch your kid, a pit bull named Princess. And you're just like, okay, this is either going to be a great time and this thing's going to really protect it and guard it, or I'm going to come back to basically confetti. Those are the two options if you have a pit bull watching a kid unsupervised. Even sometimes supervised. I've seen some of those videos where they just like, oh man, pit bulls do not like kids. I'll tell you that right now. Okay. I don't know what kind of war is going on under the surface that we don't know about between little kids and pit bulls. Like, I don't know if little kids are sneaking out at night and provoking pit bulls, but sometimes when these pit bulls get off the leash at a park, it's beef on sight. Okay. For them. It's like just gang war, okay? And the kids like to pretend they're innocent and be like, Mom, Dad, help. But inside, they're like, I knew this was coming, okay? I knew this was going to be that moment. But that's what it was like when sometimes I would drink when I was younger. There would be a certain point where I hit the limit, like, because I don't want to just, at least now I'm good with it. I just get sleepy when I drink because like I don't want to drink really hard alcohol. I'm not going to do shots. Like, I'm not trying to get fucked up here. I'll have a nice little mixed drink. Someone will make me a little mojito, nice little foo-foo drink. I'll take it down. You want to be gentleman with the whiskey? I'll take it down. Okay. You want to have a few beers around the campfire? Take it down. You want to have a couple glass of wine? I'll take it down. But when you're like, here's a double shot of tequila, I'm like, I'm not going to take this down. Who am I doing this for right now? Okay. I'm not trying to meet you in fucked upville. Okay. Because guess what? I used to be the mayor of it. All right. And don't need to go there. I don't need to uncage that animal anymore. There's no point. That was a different chapter of my life. Okay. But there was mornings I would wake up because I like to party and I like to go hard. I would be like, it was literally like solving a Scooby-Doo mystery. I'd be like the Incredible Hulk with like a little ripped up shorts or something and like a weird stain on my shirt. And I'm like, is this blood or ketchup? Okay, well, it's not ketchup. And then I would have to solve a mystery of what happened. You know, I would like follow broken glass out to the living room. And it'd be this like Taco Bell wrappers everywhere. And I'd be like, okay, the beast ate last night. At least that's good. Okay. And I go look in the mirror and there's like a little like Taco Bell hot sauce on the corner of my mouth. Dude, there's nothing better than Taco Bell when you're drunk though. You know what it is? Because when you're drunk, you get to a certain point with food. It doesn't matter. You're living for the moment. Okay. You're taking down everything on that menu. And that's how I would live when I was drunk. I'd order like 4 meals. I remember one time a buddy and we just split remember when they would do that like family meal where you would get a box from Taco Bell where it had like 10 burritos and 10 tacos? Me and my buddy, we would just go get that when we were drunk. We'd be like, okay, let's get this. And then let's just share it outside of my parents' house. Okay. We would just eat it all there. And then like a couple Jabba the Hutts would just like slither inside, then pass out, you know? Those were good old days. But now I can't do that. Now it doesn't even seem fun to me to be doing that. Okay. Cause you pay the repercussions. All right. Where was I even going with any of this? Pre-workout, heroin, drugs, because I would want to, I'd go too far. There is just a couple bad decisions and nights where I end up on 6th Street. But let me tell you something. Living on 6th Street, I'm on 6th Street a lot. 36, shout out. But me living there, okay. Couple bad decisions, but I'll tell you this much, dude. I'd be king of the castle down there on 6th Street. I would be adapting. I'd have a mogul entrepreneur mindset. At least, that's what you plan on going through. Like I'd be selling shopping carts. If I was homeless, I'd have a used shopping cart lot. Okay. Honest Evans used shopping carts. Okay. I'd rope people into the care plan where you bring your shopping cart back once a month, and we oil it up. We kind of make sure it's running the way it is. We give you free tune-ups, free alignments, stuff like that. You got to always be thinking about outside the box. All right, you got to be thinking, okay, what is going to turn these into a regular customer? And I think there's a lot of that in the homeless community that could be exploited a little bit. And I say exploited because I want to be 100% honest with you people. All right. That's the nature of the beast. Okay. And you don't even have to be like, Evan, well, that's not a big niche with a homeless community when it comes to shopping carts. How are they going to pay you? Like, they're not paying you money. Yeah, you're paying. Listen, I think that's what we need to go back to in general, I think, is the bartering system. All right, we need to start trading goods and services and things like that. And I'm not talking about getting creepy with some of the lady homeless, okay, with the services. Okay, don't be a freak, all right? Paying for protection. I'm paying for clothing, I'm going to need some protection. Listen, you're running a shopping cart bamboozle. You're going to get some pissed off customers, okay? Anyway, this has gone on way too long. This wasn't even, when I started this whole bit about the shopping cart thing, I said, I don't know how much juice is in this squeeze, but we'll see what we can get out of it. And it wasn't really much. And for that, I apologize. If it's your first time here, this is how it usually goes. Okay. So I apologize for that. But anyway, moving on, ladies and gentlemen, a lot happening in the world of comedy and entertainment. I think in the world overall, okay, is Dave Chappelle dropped a special. The Dreamer, okay? The Dreamer, Dave Chappelle, new special on Netflix. A lot of people excited about it. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people hated it. A lot of people hated it without watching it, just on principle. This is where I start. This is how I feel about the special. I thought it was a phenomenal special. I thought the opening joke was genius. I don't want to spoil it, but if you know I thought it was genius for the reason you might not be expecting. I thought this whole special was great because for a different way. I go into Dave Chappelle's specials, I grade them on a different thing than just a regular special where you're going jokes per minute. Oh, different this and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I look at Dave Chappelle's specials always as this is going to be profound. This is going to be a storytelling journey. This is going to be a masterclass in storytelling. This is going to be great angles and ups and downs. And I always think it's great. The ability of Dave Chappelle to sit there and handle the silence and the confidence and the payoff of those moments for the big laugh, but also for having a message. Because I'll tell you this right now, comedy is, I think entertainment in general is not the place to preach to people. You have to be so good at a message in the entertainment and education and the way you approach talking to people through stand-up for it to not come off as preachy and virtue signaling. That's one thing that I can't stand with a lot of entertainment is when they don't put enough effort into the story, or the story they're telling should have the education and the preaching that you want to get across without preaching. I feel like there's a way to do it, and people just do it lazily and don't have the skill set, but they still just would rather use that moment. They don't put the entertainment and the content first. They put the preach and the message and the virtue signal before it. Like, I feel like that's why so many movies are becoming terrible, is because they want to preach, they want that message, but they're not putting the work into it. But with this Dave Chappelle special, all long-winded to say, first joke, if you don't know, Dave Chappelle has dealt with a lot of issues with trans people. A lot of pushback, backlash on his previous specials. They felt like he was attacking them, but the truth is, he was never making jokes to attack them. He was talking about a trans person that he knew and was very close to him, one of his close friends that passed away. And he dealt with a lot of hate and backlash from the trans community. And I think this is a problem in general with everything, that we're not allowing any context for anything. And that's where we become dangerous, is when it's the dumbest form of thinking if you can't allow context. If you can't understand variables and you just want black and white responses to certain issues. Sorry, I just got an emotional text. No, I saw this. Anyway. What were we talking about? Chappelle. If you can't allow context and you can't allow any kind of understanding that this is comedy, and also understanding that people can have different opinions than you. Like, that's what is crazy about America and everything. Because that's why I do think this Chappelle special and what Chappelle stands for with the freedom of speech and the fact that he won't back down, I think it's great. And I think it's phenomenal for comedy. And I think he's doing a great service for other comedians, for him not to back down. All that to be said, he opened with a trans joke. That was a very smart, hidden trans joke. It wasn't until the punchline of the joke that you realized it was a trans joke. And then he doubled down and started going at handicapped people which basically, I feel like the whole stance was, listen, I don't give a shit about you guys trying to tell me I can't talk about something. If you tell me I can't talk about something, I'm going to talk about it more, which I think is great for freedom of speech in general. Not cowering to cancel culture and all this shit. And it's gotten so played out, like cancel culture, people getting upset. And what I think was happening, and I hope it's going the other direction now, is that it was never really the audience that was trying to cancel people. It was these super small groups of people that were just hating and way too into their feelings, that couldn't handle this and would reach out to these studio heads. They would tweet, and they made it sound like it was a bigger movement. And these studio places, they would give in. They would be like, okay, we're going to take this actor out. We're going to ruin this person's career. We're going to deplatform them. And these people would never be satisfied. A lot of these people who, I feel like it's all starting to crumble. There's a lot of actors who would also jump on board and talk shit about that person to try to raise their stock up within this cancel culture war. And then something would happen to that person, their skeletons, and then that person gets canceled. And it's like, hey, we don't feel bad for you because you tried to eat this other person, and now you're getting eaten by the mob. So rest in peace. Okay. But all that to be said, Dave Chappelle, I thought it was a great special. I thought what he's standing for and what he's doing is great. I thought it was entertaining. I don't look at Dave Chappelle. I mean, Killing Him Softly and his early specials, phenomenal. The Chappelle Show, phenomenal in the sense of joke per minute. That's like a barometer comedians like to throw around and say, oh, the jokes per minute, blah, 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 blah. Like how bam, bam, bam. He was in the pocket just throwing punchlines and misdirections and all this stuff, like really getting into the weeds of comedy. It's not a huge joke per minute. And I don't like Dave, but that's just a different way to do comedy. I think that storytelling and like what Dave Chappelle represents and what he does is so much bigger than just a run-of-the-mill comedian. And it might sound like I'm on his balls. Maybe I am. And that's fine, because I just appreciate a different kind of comedy. I appreciate different kinds of comedy. It doesn't have to be like, I don't really have one particular style of comedy that I enjoy. Just like I don't have one particular style of movie that I enjoy. Sometimes I'll throw on Joe List specials or Sam Morril or Mark Norman, and I just want jokes per minute. I want setup, punchline, misdirection, punchline, setup, tag, punchline. Like just these heavy hitters who I think are at the top. Like I think the best just pure joke writers, it might be Sam Morril, Mark Norman, Joe List. Joe List is on fire right now. Joe List probably a little more than everyone else in the sense of joke per minute and the amount of content that he's putting out and the amount of jokes that are stuffed into it. Like just, he's a monster when it comes to pure jokes. And then you obviously, like I respect every single comedian in the sense of, like if there's a Mount Rushmore, you got Dave Chappelle, you got Louis C.K., you got Dave Attell, you have Eddie Murphy. Katt Williams, I think Katt Williams has this turned into such a heavy comedy podcast. Katt Williams has one of the best the strongest opening of a special, I think, out of anyone. Okay. I forget which one it is, but I don't know if it's Pimp Chronicles. Every Day I'm Hustling. When he comes out to Every Day I'm Hustling and then builds, just Google Katt Williams, Every Day I'm Hustling. And that is one of the strongest opening of any special of all time. Then obviously his bit about tigers in the zoo. Mike Epps is another phenomenal comedian that I feel like doesn't get the amount of praise he deserves. There's a lot of them. That's the thing. Lavelle Crawford probably has my favorite bit of all time just for its uniqueness. He has this bit. Google your YouTube Lavelle Crawford grocery store. It's one of the most genius bits of all time. It's because it's magic the way that bit works. And it's just such a funny bit. Okay. Just the way he pulls it off. Like if I pitched that joke to someone, it wouldn't sound funny at all. Like if I was just like, cause I'll tell you what the joke is. You can go YouTube it, pause it, look at that joke. Haha, hilarious, right? And then come back. Haha, you just watched that bit and giggle. Lavelle Crawford grocery store is phenomenal just for how well that joke is set up, describing a day-to-day experience that a lot of people probably have experienced when they were a kid going to the grocery store, depending on how you were raised. And the delivery of that, and then the setup for him to repeat it and how it just builds and builds and builds. And he doesn't miss a single line from what he previously said. It just makes the joke get more silly and ridiculous till it's just like that's insanity. But anyway, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Just talking comedy, huh? Katt Williams did just drop a crazy podcast with Shannon Sharp where he just like roasted so many of the comedians, and I don't know what to think about it. Okay, he went at Kevin Hart, he went at the Kings of Comedy, Cedric the Entertainer, the host of Family Feud. It's not Bernie Mac. I got to tell you, it's gonna drive me crazy. Which I agreed with a lot of what he said. Steve Harvey, okay? He roasted the fuck out of Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, who accused of stealing a joke from Katt Williams. Cedric the Entertainer denied it, but if you go back and you watch the tapes, it's a very similar joke. And the fact that you can map out when he actually saw Katt Williams to when he did that joke, he probably stole it. And I think there was a lot more of stealing going on back then. it's kind of a strange parallel thinking to get from there to there when there's a history of you seeing that comedian perform and you're doing it after them, after you congratulated them on killing out there using that bit. But anyway, Katt Williams, phenomenal. Went at everybody, gave flowers to Dave Chappelle and a lot of these other comedians. But I don't know what to think. Katt Williams, when you hear him talk, you're just like, man, this sounds a little crazy, sounds a little bitter, but he has a lot of receipts for what he's saying. And here's the thing, I'm so fucking in with the kids when I say has receipts. Like who do I think I am? Ice Spice? Anyway, it is pretty crazy. I think 2024, if I have to give my prediction on 2024, I'm thinking a lot of exposing. Okay. A lot of just people are done and they're ready to rise up and just get after it. I feel like there's going to be a lot of weird shit that happens. Presidential election, which is going to be insane. Okay. It's kind of crazy the shit that's happening where they're trying to take Trump off of the ballot in Colorado. And I think another place tried to do it. They obviously can't. It's unconstitutional to take him off. And I think they're fucking up. I think their goal is to get rid of Trump. They should have never given him attention. They made him stronger in the media, okay? Because now he seems like goddamn Batman, okay? Just doing the Lord's work out there. You remember, have you ever seen Dexter? I just finished that show again. If you ever seen Dexter, when they're talking about the Bay Harbor Butcher in the news and they're like, man, he's a hero. He's out there killing villains and everything and bad guys. I say, keep going. So they make him into a hero. That's what they're doing a lot of times with Trump. And they're just so they can't help themselves because it helps the media and the news when they talk about him, but they don't want him to win, but they're making him stronger by mentioning his name. He's like Beetlejuice. Okay. They just keep saying his name and he gets stronger. It's like Candyman. Use Take Two. Use Candyman. He just keeps getting stronger every time they say his name. But I think it's going to get crazy. I think in the election year, it's going to get crazy. It's crazy that Epstein Island, this is where the state of the world is. And honestly, I know I talk about it all the time with social media. I'm getting off social media. Like I'm going to post stuff, but I'm not going to consume it anymore. I love people and I love connecting with people and friends and family. And I love staying connected. Text me, call me. Like I'm always open to talk and like just hang out. I'll meet up for coffee. I'll meet up for some food. Maybe wet a rod, get our tips wet at the lake. Hey, but it's not real life on social media. And it's just becoming this thing like it's feeding bullshit. I was saying the other day that social media is a lot like, you ever gone to like a space exhibit or some science fair and you put your hand through a thing and it's like you're controlling a fake hand and it's like moving around and like doing everything that your hand is doing. And then they touch the fake hand and you like feel the sensation. That's what social media is. And it's like nothing good comes of it. Okay. Because the algorithm's trying to get you to stay on there longer. It's getting smarter with AI. And it's realizing manipulating people's emotions and that negative stuff makes you interact and share more stuff. They want you to share more stuff. It's kind of like Trump where they're just like, yeah, the negativity stuff, but that's what people want. And that's what they read about. They want to get angry. And it's like, I don't want to be part of it anymore. Okay. And I feel like if you're so connected to social media and you're consuming all the time and everything, you become a dull person. Like, I think there's days where I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I didn't learn anything. I didn't do anything exciting because I wouldn't let my attention get bored enough to where I would start getting curious about something else. Like men. Stupid. Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like you can become a dull person. And it's like, I don't want this to be the level of where my focus goes is on all this stuff. And, it's kind of crazy, and I'm guilty of it too. I posted a funny clip. Funny. It wasn't that funny. It was just a quick thing. Epstein. The Epstein list of people connected. It doesn't mean those are people that were guilty or doing anything bad on Epstein Island. That's just a list that got released of people who had some kind of connection to Epstein. He was mentioned. He had some interactions. And it's like, yeah, there's guilty by association, but let's be honest. And this is where we got to have the kind of a gray area. I'll be like, who was just interacting? Who was just, oh yeah, we met at the hotel. Like, just because this dude was a demon doesn't mean that every single meeting he had was about that kind of stuff. And there's some weird connection and that person's guilty by just having some kind of business thing with him or went to some fundraiser that he was at. Anyway, but it came back that Stephen Hawking was on there, and he was like, he got accused of being part of an underage orgy. First of all, what the fuck is Stephen Hawking doing in an orgy? What is he just adding weird techno background noise? Like, all right, that was too far. That was a problem. I'm sorry. I'm better than that. But the whole point I'm making is that with social media, these real things that should be like, wow, this is really crazy, we just make memes out of all of it. And I love joking and making jokes and everything, but it's like there's nothing serious really coming of it. We have so many flight logs of people who went to Epstein Island, celebrities and everything like that, but people don't want to cancel them. No one wants to get rid of Beyonce. Okay. It's just weird. It's a weird thing. And I feel like in 2024, I'm hoping it becomes a year of like a lot of truth comes out. Okay. Where you start seeing things like, it's crazy that you sound like a conspiracy theorist, that the death rate, the life expectancy in Canada is going down, a place where they just introduced, required vaccines and boosters and all this stuff for an illness that isn't life-threatening, but they're making so much fucking money on it. But no one like talks about that. Everybody's just like, yeah, well, I'm going through my life and I'm going through my day and I have to work and everything. But it's like, as long as we're plugged into all these distractions and things like that, I don't think we're going to ever do anything about it. We're all, at least with social media and stuff, just hubbed into it. And it's like, why would I go do this stuff that's all hard to deal with and these harsh truths when I can just laugh at this and keep scrolling, and that'll be tomorrow's problem? I said we fight back. And listen, I'm not saying that because January 6th is tomorrow. I have no connection to that. I don't endorse it, and I don't want to be part of it, okay? But we need a spiritual awakening. We need an emotional, a holistic and individual independence, okay? That's what the United States of America was supposed to be, was a place where you could live free and choose your own life and wouldn't be under the tyranny of a corrupt government, okay? And that's what's happening. That's the truth of what's happening. And it's not happening in the way of we're being thrown into camps and our objective surface level freedoms are being taken away. But our freedom in the sense of healthcare, work, choices, like this whole thing happening where they're trying to take Trump off the ballot, that's a pretty insane thing to try to do, is to remove a candidate. It used to be a thing where like candidates would run and debate and everything, and they would go out into these town halls and actually have to speak to people. They would have to tell you their ideas, and there was no one trying to suppress that except fucking at that fucking opera that one night at the theater with Abraham Lincoln, RIP, okay? But again, a free thinker. Again, someone who was trying to change things and be innovative. And I think there's a lot of people making a lot of money in ways that we're not even thinking about and realizing. When you have lobbyists and how much money pharmaceutical companies and these health companies and everything that's happening, it's pretty insane. What do I know? I'm just out here rocking in the free world out here in Texas. They put it on the ballot to become the Republic of Texas. Okay, listen. I love Texas and the freedoms it's given me and the liberty out here. But I don't know about seceding just yet. Let's just see how these things play out. Okay? It's kind of, let's just pump the brakes. Okay? We'll horsey. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. It was fun. It was real, but it wasn't real fun. Maybe not for you. Okay? But thank you for listening. I hope all is well in your world. A lot of new videos coming out. And I just want to tell you, remember, no matter what, I still love you.